Good afternoon, everyone. This is your Arya, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Tuesday, June 20, 2023, 3:15 p.m. Eastern. And we're having a time for change call tomorrow night at around 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to talk about we as a civilization's roots, which no one seems to know what those roots are. But we will open that up. Ask yourself, many of us get so, we get directed and misdirected and absorbed in the material physical world. Who are you? It's important. You know, people say, well, what the heck? Who cares who I am? No, that's the human psyche, the society. Are you this body and mind? Are you this name? Are you what other people say you are? Or are you what you believe that others think about you? Or are you what you believe that others think about you? Think about how you define yourself. And what specific qualities have you placed on top of you? This is the big question. I invite you to inquire into today, to become deeply curious about who are you really? Remember that totally loving and accepting you is the ultimate destination. Ultimate. We have this, it is amazing, we have this omnipotent power source within us. We can manifest anything we choose, and we're immortal, supreme beings in these bodies. So, you know, it's kind of like, what are we doing? And you may like to know that, as I've said in the past, that we were working on the elimination, let's put it this way, the veils of deception that cause us to continually reincarnate on this planet. That is coming to a close. There's going to be a lot of discovery amongst us that I don't believe obviously not all will embrace it. I believe that we'll have some will embrace it. Others will just say, yeah, that's a bunch of poppycock, a bunch of crap. And it isn't. It's like, what are we about? Nothing that people believe that they're what they're about. There's this amazing universe all around us. Outer space extends far beyond what we can see with any high-tech cosmic telescope, which gives you a star system. 13 billion light years away, which isn't that far, believe it or not. This incredible universe is also a living, breathing experience that extends infinitely within us. Within us. We are the universe. The universe is us. It continues deeper beyond the atomic quantum particles, which are amazing yet ancient. The electron, super electron microscopes can barely see. And when we look inside ourselves on a conscious level, using our mind to explore who we truly are, what we discover is yet another realm of infinity. Isn't that amazing? Another realm of infinity. Inside our mind, there are memories, piled upon memories, and beliefs within beliefs, all stacked to infinity, which means forever. For every new thought that is forming right now, there are a dozen new thoughts soon to follow. Just sit down on some lazy Sunday afternoon to spiritually investigate who you really are. And you'll find you can ascend and descend forever within the deepest realms of your very soul. However, inside of this infinite mystery is in the relationship that's manifesting between our inner world and the outer universe. It behaves something like a perpetual reflection, a mirror. Whatever is happening within our inner world is attracting, magnetizing, and manifests what we are experiencing in our outer world. For example, if I'm in a good mood today, all I see are happy, smiling faces wherever I go. And amazing opportunities seem to effortlessly float my way. Then, if I fall down into an emotional dumpster, the face of every person has nothing but gloom and doom smeared all over it. And it feels like my entire life is about to collapse. The law of attraction is unavoidable. Whatever we are feeling and feeding into emotionally on the inside is somehow always materializing into whatever we see, experience, and physically attract in our outer world. That's why Buddha always would say, the enlightened one, be mindful of your thoughts. Beware of your thoughts. Now you can imagine how many people on this planet are mindful of their thoughts. Not many. Not many at all. Now another example for how the infinite reflection is showing up in our lives is how it manifests in our relationship with others. The more love, compassion, and acceptance we have for ourselves, the easier it is to have compassion, love, and acceptance for others. Or it's always that one thing which we absolutely dislike and cannot stand about the other, which is reflecting some part inside ourselves that we don't want to own or accept it. It's like if I'm upset at my neighbor for being too dominating, controlling, and aggressive, instead of having compassion with him, then when I take a closer look inside myself, I see how I'm not okay with those parts of myself that feel so too dominating, controlling, or aggressive. It's all a deep and yet transparent mirror. Our inner world is an extension of our outer universe. And the outer world is an extension of our inner universe. This means that life extends into infinity in every direction and dimension. Our inner and outer universes are never separate, even though your physical body appears to be a completely isolated entity. It is not. We live in one sacred ocean of energy. There simply is just one universe that extends for infinity into the outer realms in all directions and inner dimensions. You contain the wet and salty qualities of the entire ocean, and yet are just a single drop in it. The oceanic waves are always moving you and flowing through you as you. The essential problem I've discovered most people are having with this life is that they are not reaching deep enough inside themselves to reconnect with their actual living, breathing, infinite spiritual essence. Our spiritual nature is a real thing. Our spiritual nature is a real thing. It is our most basic reality. It is what keeps your heart beating, your breath breathing, and your life force moving through you in every moment of existence. You don't have to breathe. Your body does it for you. The same as with your spiritual essence. It is living and creating through your physical body, unfolding its essential karmic programming within this great cosmic playground. It's good to know that suffering happens only when the mind gets in the way. When we become overly focused on thoughts and material things that makes us feel limited or time-bound, we start believing we only have limited options. The realm of the infinite fades into the background of the finite. And we start thinking everyone is living in a very small, contracted world when we only focus on our own needs. We forget how to connect with the soul of others. If we are always thinking about money and more material possessions, we cannot see or feel the infinite reality that is beneath it all. The majority of the rat race is trapped. A majority of the rat race is trapped in thinking about time-bound appointment, which causes consciousness to squeeze itself into a tiny temporal box. Let's say 4:30 p.m. With this deadline coming, think about that, deadline coming. We just don't have time to feel what eternity is like. When we only live in a limited tick-tock 24-hour clock world, this is consumed with resources around money, material items. We instantly start feeling disconnected from the infinite eternal beings we all actually are. This addictive dwelling of the mind on what is not infinite or eternal is what makes us feel spiritually disconnected from every living being on this planet today. We were all born with a limited time-bound physical body so that we could acquire a contrasting perspective and experience ourselves as the infinite eternal being we actually are. We have the capability to create, manifest, and experience anything we desire. We are all the children of a great universal consciousness, God, your consciousness, that is impregnated with unlimited potentiality. If all this talk about the infinite is expanding your mind too much to handle today, just remember that your inner world is always impacting and manifesting something in your outer world. Every thought you believe to be true is what is creating your reality. What happens when you say, I don't believe that thought? And then you create your own. I don't believe that thought. This is what I believe, the thought I'm creating right now. Your thoughts are always flowing through you and are always creating everything in your life. You will become whatever you think in the future. So be aware of your innermost thoughts and yet somehow remain non-attached. Your thoughts are not who you truly are. They never were, they never will be. You are an eternal, infinite consciousness who is beyond form and time. You are pure awareness. You are pure awarenessness, reflecting back on itself, in this physical, universal universe of time and space. Let go of thoughts that were cycling in your mind yesterday and ideas about the way life should turn out for you tomorrow. Be here now. Now is the moment of power. Now is where enlightenment is discovered. For physically, you are forever forced to exist in the present moment. Your present awareness is always being generated from this present moment. Know this and live and breathe within this knowing. If you want your life to be smoother, fuller, more in touch with utter bliss, get in touch with your eternal essence. Let go of any limiting thoughts that you have and drop into the knowingness that you are an infinite soul who will never, ever die. If you crave for some secure life that is easy and light, give that experience to yourself on the inner world within first. Find out how to soothe yourself emotionally, giving deep, robust, tingling sensations to every corner of your body, mind, and spirit. The great experience of divinity is always available and ready to take you into the higher dimensions. Your greatest life is ready for you here, now. So open yourself up and welcome it in. You will find the infinite with the finite. Trust the process. Breathe it in. Enjoy every breath you were given. Meditation is a listening with a receptive heart. Meditation is a listening with a receptive heart. You can't change the truth, but the truth sure can change you. There are as many great truths in our universe as there are stars in the sky. And yet, just like the billions of trillions of stars that exist, not all truths are created equal. This universe is not just made of black and white colors. You take your time and look closer, you'll see so many different colors. There's a vast multi-dimensional cosmic playground out there, and inside of all of us as well. We live in a highly diverse, intelligent system which contains various degrees of truth. And so not every truth will impact us the exact same way. The bigger a truth is, the more it will expand our reality, and the smaller a truth is, the more it will shrink and contract our experience of life. The good news is that you don't have to decide what is a big truth and what is a small truth. Your physical body will let you know. For your heart is the best guide for seeing how expansive or contracted a truth actually is. Whenever we discover a larger, more profound truth in this life, a little miracle happens. Everything that once felt hard, heavy, and stuck inside us, suddenly becomes exalted and liberated. We feel lighter than air. We're filled with a natural, spontaneous joy inside, which flows as freely as the wind. The mind stops thinking. We experience our own source of consciousness. From there, we see life from a much more expanded perspective. And it can happen within milliseconds. One of the biggest truths that have ever been uncovered along the path was the first lesson in the Course in Miracles. It simply states that That which is real cannot be threatened. All right? That which is real cannot be threatened. And that which is unreal does not exist. It can take many months to spiritually digest this enormous truth. And put it in your mind and root it throughout your life. Now think about that. That which is real cannot be threatened. What is it that feels threatened inside you, us? What is this personal self, ego, or that thing you call you, which defends itself when feeling attacked or provoked? What is this little you who has a need to be on guard and protect yourself, trying to assert itself, and attempting to achieve something important or worthwhile with their life? And then, who is this overly strong, confident, all-important you who compensates for the super small, unimportant you? It's the one who has been attempting to make your life secure by feeling self-important, accomplished, met in deep embrace by their beloved, and all the while is feeling a deep and constant separation from God. Good news in all of this is that who we truly are has nothing to do with who and what we think we are. Two entirely different things. Completely. Whatever we may think of and conceive of about ourselves with the mind can only be a thought. And this little thought is too small to be who or what we are. Who and what we really are is beyond any spiritual understanding of the mind. In this moment, and only this moment, we can find what is actually real. And this real thing is the only thing that liberates us and binds us at the same time. That which is real, the real you, does not change. And this essence is what remains the same for all eternity. Perhaps the most pivotal, enlightening truth that can be discovered is understanding how all identification with the ego is based in some form of fear. If we are not experiencing a state of oneness, unity and love, connection, relaxation and bliss, we are hanging out in some quality or version of fear. The ego is clinging to some thought or a process of thoughts which believes deep down that it is not one with the divine. It thinks it is not loved, accepted, embraced, or enlightened. The more creative you become, the more godly you become. When your creativity comes to a climax, when each moment of your life is filled with creativity, you will live in God also. Entertainment is simply realizing again and again and again how to remain non-identified with one's ego. Right? Enlightenment is simply realizing again and again and again how to remain non-identified with one's ego. The enlightened state is a pure seeing, understanding how the ego is the greatest illusion of them all. To intimately know and become identified with the real self, that which cannot be threatened, is the only true path to total freedom there is. All other paths lead to some form of suffering. It requires no basic standard of ethics, codes, of spirituality, or religious background needed to arrive. You simply experience yourself as the essence of consciousness that you naturally are. The ego, who most of us think we are, has some truth to it. Yet it's just not a very big truth. It's a much smaller truth, which only castrates our ability to expand into love, trust, and feeling of oneness. Ego it's definitely a fear-based program, okay? It's definitely a fear-based program, the ego, that is based in the opposite experience of trust. Whenever we're living in trust 24 hours a day, we start accessing all the wisdom and knowledge known to all the saints, masters, and enlightened beings throughout existence. We step into the greatest experience of our lives. We find our real true selves and know that we are the real masters of our destiny. When we know our real nature, we can allow life to play its ego personality role through us and somehow not get in the way. We can sit back, go with the flow, and enjoy the ride. We can remain fascinated by this life, learning how we are here to serve others, take care of our bodies, and simply let the all-intelligent life force move through us. This state of perpetual enjoyment of life is real mastery. When we remain free from all forms of ego identification, we cannot help but to enjoy all the aspects of this life. We allow greater love to always guide our course and help us live with ease and grace in every way. The choiceless truth of who you are is revealed to be permanently here, permeating everything, not a thing, and not separate from anything. The choiceless truth of who you are is revealed to be permanently here, permeating everything, not a thing, and not separate from anything. Gangaji. There definitely is a divine orchestra of spiritual energy and consciousness happening all around us all of the time. We aren't always aware of it because our minds are so distracted and busy with those all too important things of this physical world. It's only when everything stops from some seemingly random event that we are thrown back to our real selves and can see, feel, and taste the bigger picture. In a few brief moments, the mind drops its game, and we understand how divinely perfect everything is. And easy, since we have all of this energy flying all over the place, you got good energy, you got bad energy, you got negativity, you got doom and gloom, you name it, it's sloshing around out there. When ego is lost, limit is lost. You become infinite, kind, beautiful. When ego is lost, limit is lost. You become infinite, kind, beautiful. Yogi Bhajan. All of us, once in a while, have a bad day. Yet when bad days turn into bad weeks, depressing months, and unhappy years, we truly need to make a change. We are here to enjoy this life, not to be tortured by it. We are here to enjoy this life, not to be tortured by it. This universe is a totally magnificent playground of energy, a conscious celebration, blossoming with life in all directions. Now, if and when we can see this, feel this, we can enjoy it. When we lose perspective, we sever our natural connection with this great joy. Don't fret, not all is lost. We are just taking the longer route to rediscovering the divine beings we all truly are. Now, the first step to shifting out of a negative mood is to recognize, realize, and honor the fact that you are the one creating and perpetuating this bad mood. No one else is. You are. You may believe something outside of you is responsible for your unhappiness. Yet ultimately, it all comes down to how you are responding. Are you seeing it as your teacher or your enemy? Happiness is always about the lens we are looking through. Truly enjoying this life is about taking radical responsibility for the state you're in, exploring what this negative experience is teaching spiritually, you, and then finding out the fastest way to let it go. Once you can say, I am the one creating this negative experience of my life, then half of the great battle is over. Nobody creates this for us. All these things that we've been trained and taught, point fingers, it's not my fault, it's that fault, it's because of this, and this, it's that fault, it's not my fault. I had nothing to do with it, it just happened. Rather than saying, this is my fault, and I've got to find out why I'm creating this for myself. Another step towards freedom is learning how to step back from whatever you're resisting, fighting, judging, or hating, and see that actually it is just a bunch of thoughts. Your problems ultimately boil down to ideas that are ultimately passing through the synapses of your brain. Whatever wrong thing you think is happening out there is always happening primarily inside your mind in here. The more resistance, judgment, and anger you've built up around this particular idea out there, the greater the joy you'll feel when you shift your relationship with it inside yourself and move on. The moment you learn how to let go of being right about how horrible something or someone is, you discover how good it feels to be wrong. I find that always provides the perfect climax at the end. Another step towards releasing your negative mood is returning to the source of who and what you spiritually are, truly. Who and what you are. Who and what are you? Are you your name? What others think of you? Or just this physical body filled with meat, blood, and emotional bones? Perhaps there's a deeper spiritual aliveness that is real inside you. You believe that you are your thoughts. Then ask yourself, who and what is watching and listening to them go by? The watcher is the real you. You are not any of these thoughts. You just became too close to your thoughts and got overly identified with them. The very moment we return to who and what we are, this pure consciousness, conscious witness, who abides at the very source of thought, then we are home free. The final step is truly, deeply, sweetly relaxing fully into your body so that there is no tension hiding inside you anywhere. When we can fully relax inside, we become deeply aware beings again. easy to see how insignificant and fleeting thoughts actually are. You notice that many creatures out there, 1 minute they're there, and 1 minute they're gone. Just as fast as they came. When our bodies are relaxed, we can see how fleeting each thought is and how easy it is to completely change them. The more we can feel into the spiritual truth of who and what we are, we naturally pull back our attention to our real selves. It just feels good, so we naturally do it. Our spiritual nature takes care of us, and we can effortlessly enjoy life, which means we have stopped dwelling on the negative. Our bad mood turns around, and we see the beauty in everything. Our bad mood turns around, and we see the beauty in everything. We are grateful for life again, even for the opportunity to shift out of this negative space. We appreciate, love, and enjoy this simple experience of being alive. We understand that if we cannot see God in all, we cannot see God at all. Turn within and you will become free and liberated because it's all a dream. Robert Adams. Once we really embrace the fact that we're here temporarily to enjoy life, to discover really and truly who and what we are, which is the God, the pure consciousness within the soul, that is an immortal supreme being that never dies. We are connected to all the universes. All that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond. We're connected. We're one. Just by understanding that and then strengthening and expanding and becoming that pure consciousness, that God, everything will shift. You won't be worried or troubled. There's no reason to be. The minute you start suffering, worrying, stressing, and fearing, you're not in the now. You're in yesterday or tomorrow. You're not in the now. And you can argue that with yourself till you're blue in the face, but you are not in the now. When you are suffering, you're not trusting, you're disgruntled, you're in low frequency. And see, imagine when you stop yourself, that you become aware, right? And you're aware that we all have these thoughts, so you're aware you have these thoughts, but now you identify them. You go, wait a minute. That's an ego mind thought. I'm not interested in engaging in that. I'm interested in engaging in this thought that I'm going to send out right now. We see, because we increase our vibrational frequencies. When you're laughing and you feel gay and lighthearted, those are positive vibrational frequencies. But a lot of the times we're brought down. We're made heavy. Why is that? Because you got so many people portraying the woe is me attitude. The woe is me attitude, which is the opposite of the highest high, deepest eternal gratitude. It's the opposite. The woe is me frequency. A lot of people like that. Even in rough times. See, here's where it comes down to deciding. Even in rough times, there's no reason why what are you going to do? Are you going to be in the lower goop frequency or a higher frequency? Because when you're up and you consciously bring yourself up, you're not going to be in pain and suffering. You won't. It doesn't exist there. And this whole entire, what do you call it? Design that all of us have had a part in. We're each creating our entertainment. Now, unfortunately, we don't know that the thoughts that we're entertaining are not ours. They're not ours. And we also don't know that we can generate our own thoughts purely, lovingly, to determine the life we choose to live. First, you have to decide. You don't have to, but you choose to decide. Which path are you going to take? Which direction? Well, wouldn't it seem like a no-brainer? I choose to be in a blissful state. High frequency. Joy, happiness, enthusiasm. Genuinely. Now, someone says, well, they like themselves and, they like who and what they are, and so they're going to stay that way. It's nice and secure and safe. On Earth today, what would happen if you walked up to just someone walking by and you said, excuse me, can I ask you a question? Oh, yeah, okay, because they're usually defensive anyway. Do you know what's inside your body? Not really inside the body, but do you know who you really are? Well, the response would probably be kind of, oh, here's a real Fruit Loop, wingnut. And they try to be polite and everything, Yeah, I'm going to explore that more. I'm going to find out more about that. Thank you for bringing that up. Thank you. So if we live a life, right? We live life, all of us. But the lives we live, we have chosen. The lives that we live, we have chosen, designed, orchestrated, engineered, all of it. And the nice thing is that you decide that, you know what, I'm not really interested in this kind of life anymore. I want this life. This is what I want. So clearly, lovingly, genuinely, you send it out to the universe in high frequency. When you're in high frequency is when you send those thoughts out. Right to the heart mind. And it goes to the universe. And then you're not in your own way, so you don't block it. And then the universe builds it, puts it together, sends it to you. With beautiful wrappings and ribbons. How many people have you come across in your travels in this life so far that have said to you, I've discovered who and what I truly am. Therefore, this is not the life I live anymore. This life that I was living in rejection and in confrontation with my ego and anger, frustration, and short patience, and all this stuff. All along, all of us creating the lives that we're living this very moment. So I say, oh no, that's another force doing that. No. It's you doing that. Being separated, and I don't mean, figuratively, okay? But being separated from your God, pure consciousness, and allowing the ego to run the show, it's like you being dumped off in the middle of a desert with no water and no place to get water, no place to go. You imagine that? That's what it's like. And you keep walking and walking and walking. You keep looking for some civilization so that you can get water. And see, because of that, you're thinking that here's the negatives from the ego mind, that you're not going to be able to find the water. What are you going to do? How are you going to survive? How are you going to live? Everything's drying out in your body, and you got to keep walking, but you don't know where you're going because you haven't seen any civilization. Now, you could easily turn it around through your heart-mind and say, this is an experience that I'm having. I'm deeply grateful for this experience. And I know, universe, that you'll provide the water at the appropriate time for me to continue. And it will. People call those miracles. That's basically. They call them miracles. You know who creates the miracle? You do. Who ushers in the miracle to become a reality and you experience it? You do. What would happen if you said, I'm going to love someone for today? Right? Each of us say we're going to love someone today. That means whether figuratively or literally, we're going to hug them. We're going to say how wonderful they are through our heart minds and how deeply grateful we are to have their God in that body to affect change. Now, you would think, wouldn't you? You'd believe that this, well, that's not that hard. A lot of people could increase their vibrational frequency. Well, it's complicated. Because what you see is the reason that you see everything you're seeing, which is an illusion anyway, but the reason you're seeing it is because the majority of us are not connected to the gods that we are in these bodies. That we're being led and we're mastered by the ego mind. That's the bottom line. You can argue that all you want, but it comes out to be truthful fact. And by one simple shift, that you start going within, focusing on your breath, staying in the now at all times, and discovering that you are the God within that body. And not only that, embracing the God that you are. Praising the God that you are. And everything changes. Shifts, so to speak. The reason that the gods that we are don't change, because they're divine perfection. We're divine perfection. We don't change. Sure, we absorb more things, we understand, but we don't change. We are the God. Omnipotent supreme beings that never die. Outside of these bodies, say, not the body. I'll join you in meditation, and we'll return to close us out. Take an easy and deep breath in through the nose, slowly. And take an easy and slow breath out of the mouth. Enlightenment comes from consciously being in touch with the core of your experience. This core is where we evolve our consciousness. This means that you drop out of your head and into your body, feeling what is truly happening inside it. Bring your attention into the center of your body throughout the day and welcome whatever shows up in there. Feel your heart and belly deeply, more so than ever before. Let this begin the path inwards, where you discover the core of self-realization. Explore what it's like to truly live and breathe, each breath being in touch with the center of your being. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, or following morning. And we will return here Wednesday, June 21, 2023. 3:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our global guided meditation call. 9 p.m. Eastern to continue our time for change call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be of the highest high, deepest of the deepest, purest of the purest, eternal gratitude at all time, no matter what's going on around you.